On today's episode of Let's Grow Together, I'm talking about the most important conversations that you are having in your life. What am I talking about? Well, that's what we're going to discuss. But first, the intro. Welcome to Let's Grow Together. My name is Nick Monotabis, motivational speaker and digital marketing strategist. And this podcast is all about helping you grow both in life and business. Let's dive in. So, what are the most important conversations that you should be having? And it's fairly simple answer. The conversations that you have with yourself. There's nothing more important than the conversations that you have with yourself. And I think I read a stat today of, I think you have like 50,000 conversations with yourself in your head or something like that, something absurd number of how many conversations that you have with yourself. So think about that though. Even if that number is like not that accurate, let's say it's actually like 5,000. That's still like a ton of conversations that you're having with yourself. And understanding that what you're saying matters. And what you're saying on a regular basis matters. How are we communicating with ourselves that are going to help us to grow and be better? If you're telling yourself that you're no good, then that's not going to help yourself grow. You ever heard, like, it's funny because I'm talking about, personal growth, that people like talk kindly to their plants to help them grow, that there's like studies that say that talking to them is beneficial to like help them to progress. And you have to think about it too. Like, would you talk to your friend or your kid the same way that you talk to yourself? Absolutely not. At least you shouldn't be, depending on what those conversations are being said. I think a lot of us need to reevaluate what those conversations are on a daily basis. But how can we go about doing that in a productive way? How can we go about doing it in a way that's going to make us progress? Now, I'm not saying I don't have negative self-talk. That would be crazy. I couldn't say that, and that would be a lie. And that's not what this show is about. I'm not here to say that I'm the best and you should do what I do and I always do this well, so you guys just do this. No. I'm here. This show is about sharing my experiences, sharing the guests' experiences, and how what they're doing and what they're sharing can benefit you. And the things that I've realized is that my happiness is a foundation of the practices and the conversations that I have with myself on a daily basis. Yes, a daily basis. You've heard me talk, you've heard every single one of my guests talk about this, and I'm going to say it again because if you're not doing it now and you're still listening, what are you doing? Now we're getting coached. What are you doing? How do you not have a gratitude journal yet? If you've listened to this show at all, so much of this is about gratitude. Almost every single one of my guests, and it's so amazing, I'm not telling them to say it, they say that they start their day with some type of journaling talking about how grateful they are. And it is so powerful to start your day with this practice because that's the conversations that you're having. You're writing down the things that you're grateful for. You are talking to yourself and you're talking about all of the positive things that you have in your life. And this is literally shaping how you think every single day, throughout the day. How we set ourselves up, how we plan accordingly to make sure that what we say on a daily basis is going to be beneficial for the pursuit of our goals, for the pursuit of our growth. But the first step comes with evaluation. The first step comes with realizing what those conversations we are having with ourselves and catching ourselves when we hear that negative self-talk up. I'm not going to lie. I talk myself up. It's an important part of high performers. I'm not necessarily saying I'm a high performer, but I've done a lot of studies into high performance. If you haven't read the book High Performance Habits, you should check it out. But the conversations that we have with ourselves are important, and it has to be good in telling ourselves that we are doing a great job, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But if we're bringing ourselves down, that's not an environment for you to be able to grow. And if you have somebody else in your life, in the last episode I talked about your environment, that somebody else is bringing you down, that's not a good environment to be in either. But understanding that even if every single person in your life is super supportive and is like, you're amazing, you're going to do so many great things in life, you're so awesome. If you don't believe it yourself, it does not matter. And that was a big realization for me, because a lot of times we're looking for that. We're looking for the cheerleaders. We're looking for the people to be like, yeah, you're doing great. You're doing awesome. Fantastic. Like, keep up the great work. You know, in entrepreneur world, we don't hear that much. You know, like, you're on your own. You got to keep trucking. And you have to be confident in yourself, confident that you are doing what you are supposed to be doing, and supporting yourself and believing that you can do it. Because that's just an important aspect of this in general, and whether or not you believe the things that you tell yourself that you can do. And if you tell yourself that you can't do it, guess what? You definitely can't do it. You may have heard the quote from Henry Ford, if you think you can't, you can't. If you think you can, you can. I think I might have screwed that up. But you know the quote, and you know exactly what I'm saying. The quote is, what if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that is powerful when you really think about that aspect of the things that you're doing in your life, the things that you have, and whether or not you believe that anything is possible. Do you? Are you listening to me speak because you're like, oh man, well, only Nick can do it. Like, oh, Nick can have a podcast, and Nick can do videos, and Nick can start a business, but I can't do any of those things. Why not? I am not special. I promise you. I am just like you. I have the same fears. I have the same doubts. The difference is that I'm choosing to not worry about those things, to not focus on those things, to not talk about those things in my head, to focus on seeing the positives, to focus on saying the positives. I got so connected with that aspect of being the positive person and that wanting to be something that I embody, that it's become part of my brand, that people just know me for that. You know, when I say something negative, people are like, what? Nick, did you just say something negative? Like, that's what my friends say. That's what my business contacts say. Like, everyone just knows me, my family, they know me as this positive guy. But it's not something that just happens overnight. It's not something that you're born with. I firm-heartedly believe that this is not something that you are born with, that it is something that you work at. And I've worked really hard. So to say that this self-talk is from just the personality or because of the confidence that I have, it's because I changed the conversations that I was having. I changed the conversations. I didn't like the things that I was doing, so I changed the things that I was doing. I didn't like the conversations I was having, so I changed the conversations that I was having. I didn't like the environment that I was in, so I changed the environment that I was in. We have to be willing to take action. We have to be willing to do the things that are going to move the needle forward, that are going to move us in a new direction, that are going to keep us going to do more and be better and achieve more and just be happier. Because when we're pursuing the things that we want to do, you're going to be happier. If you want to be like, you hear that voice in your head, it's like, man, I wish I was more fit. I wish I, exercised more. I wish I was healthier, If you start doing those things and listen to that voice inside your head, amazing things happen. Instead of listening to that other voice that's like, nah, you should just like watch TV, Now eat that ice cream. Eat it. It's delicious. Not to say you can't have ice cream. Again, everything's moderation. I had some ice cream last night and it was delicious, but I also went for a run. So again, understanding that aspect. But again, back to the conversations. The conversations that we're having, how are we communicating ourselves comes with how we start our day and how we end our day. I mentioned it earlier, starting with gratitude and how impactful and important that is. But also how we end the day. You've heard me talk about this before. If you listen to other episodes, how we end our day is just as important as how we start our day. And it's a lot easier for people to have morning routines than it is to have nightly routines. Just one of those things happen, things get in the way. How are we incorporating? And one thing that is so important is that we have this reflection. We have this time to reflect on the positives and the things that we did that day. I have a journal, and I literally talk to myself. Again, self-talk, the conversations that we are having with ourselves and what we are saying in those conversations. And in this journal, I am writing down things that you've achieved. Hey, great job. You did a great workout today. You got out there and ran 4 miles. Good work. You had a great call today. You spoke with this client. They were so happy. They were talking about how much you've impacted their business and they're so excited about the things that you're working on. How could things have been better? I like to reflect on how things can have been better, but I'm not trashing myself for maybe not accomplishing everything that was on my to-do list. I'm focusing on the areas that were great, some areas that I can maybe improve for the next day, but the priority is the things that I am proud of, the things that I accomplished that day. Take notice of those things. If you didn't have any cheat foods and you stuck to your diet that day, heck yeah, it's not easy. No one's saying it is. I certainly am not. I'm not saying that the things that I talk about in this show and what some of the other guests are talking about are easy to do or that they happen overnight. My progression of journaling has evolved over the years of just getting started and figuring out what works for you. I'm not here to tell you that this is the best and you should do it exactly how I do it, because you need to find what works for you. But at the end of the day, the conversations that you're having, I'm going to be pretty certain that if you're telling yourself that you suck, that's not going to go well for anyone. Is that really how the conversation that you want to be having, that you can't do something, that you're not capable of doing that thing that you think about, that you're not capable of elevating to that next level? Why not? What is preventing you from getting to that next level? Again, these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. What is preventing us from getting to that next level? Is it the conversations that we're having? Is it the environment that we're in? Is it the things that we're doing on a daily basis? How can we change our perspective? It starts with asking the right questions. What are we doing again? Yes, we're talking to ourselves. It's great. But you need to be able to ask yourself the right questions and coach yourself. I constantly am coaching myself and saying, like, no, like this was just a bad experience, it's okay. Move forward for the next one. This one situation, this one time does not fully determine how the future times will go. You can change, you can improve, you can do it better the next time around. And it's become that natural default setting of being able to shift those conversations that we're having, catching yourself when you're having that negative self-talk, and be like, no, I can do this. Why can't I do this? What's preventing me from doing this? And then you're like, oh, well, I'm scared of judgment of what people may say. Why? Who cares what those people think? What about the people that are going to get value? What about the people that I'm going to help? What about the things that doing this one thing are going to make me do, make me feel? At the end of the day, be selfish. This is about you. This ain't about me. This ain't about the other guy. It's about you. You got to look out for number one. Unless you have kids, then you look out for them, and then you look out for you. But you have to look out for you first so that you can look out for them. So no matter what, our focus is always looking out for ourselves and how we are best communicating with ourselves, how we are best working with ourselves, how we are best feeding ourselves with everything, with our thoughts, with our food, with our exercise, with our journaling, with our daily habits, with everything. But it starts with the conversations. I know that you hear that voice inside your head that's like, hey, you should do this thing that'll be much better for you. You know that voice. You've heard it before. Start listening to it more. And it will get louder. It will get louder and louder and louder, where then it just becomes the loudest voice. And then when you're thinking about, should I go to a run or not go from it, it's like, you're going for a run. And you're like, whoa, calm down. All right, I'll go. But it can happen, but it takes time. It takes practice. Change that self-talk. Watch how it works. Change what your daily routines are. Change what you're writing. Do positive affirmations. I am confident. I am amazing. Yes. Sounds really weird. I know I'm saying it on a podcast and it sounds weird. But that doesn't take away from its ability to work. It doesn't take away from its ability to subliminally send messages to your head to a positive aspect of what you can achieve. I am capable. I am a leader. I am an entrepreneur. I am great at video. I am healthy-minded. We don't lie to ourselves, okay? Be the person that you want to become. Act how the person that you want to become acts. That's how you become that person. I hope this episode finds you well. I hope you got a lot of value from this and understand. And I know I sometimes preach, but I guess if you've been listening to me for this long, that you know and you're okay with it. So this is just who I am. I can't help it. But I hope that it motivates you. I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready to just like crush the week and just like really just dominate. Start changing the conversations that we're having. You got this. Go out. Go get it. And remember, let's keep growing together.
Wait. One more thing. I would first like to say thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this message, please take a moment to write a review. By writing a review, it helps people find this message and helps me help more people. And if you really, really liked it and you think this message could help someone else, take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, and please tag me at Nick J. Boni, NickJBoni, so I can show my appreciation for you. We can all win by helping each other grow. Thank you. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.